Good morning. This is Angela with a cup of tea on Thursday, August 25th, 2011. If you've noticed, it's hard not to notice, things have really started getting a little nuts around us. Things have come to this point of, we're having a lot of earth changes going on, a lot of cultural changes, and a lot of socio-economic changes, as well as spiritual, energetic. Everything is changing. And I know I've talked about this a lot, but it seems that because it's so much more conscious right now, it's really a good time to hit upon this topic again, which is going back to talking about the role that we have through all of this evolution. And I can't stress enough how important it is for us to be able to come back to ourselves, be able to listen to our higher selves. And that's a really, really basic thing. But it's what a lot of people talk to me about, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to, that's the biggest challenge that many people have, is listening to what their gut is telling them, because their ego is telling them, or their mind is telling them, no, we can't do this. We have to do this some other way. We have to we have to do this, and it can't be this easy, and it can't be this way, and you can't follow this because of this, and there's 50 reasons why. So it's really funny. Also, on the wake of Steve Jobs of Apple resigning yesterday, there's a quote that I actually wanted to use. It came up when I got the topic for this discussion that I had actually waiting to use before he even resigned yesterday. So I think that's sort of funny. And he's sort of top of mind with a lot of people. But the quote that from Steve Jobs was on how don't waste your time living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of other people's opinions drown out your inner voice. And most importantly, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you already want to become. Everything else is secondary. Now, this is a businessman. This is not any spiritual leader or spiritual teacher, but it so ties into all of this. So many times in our world, we make decisions based on what other people expect. Again, I've talked about that. I've talked about having our relationships define us, and this is the same thing. But how many times have you overcome, there's a really good friend of mine who I've known for years, and I used to work with him in corporate, and he's been struggling with wanting to start a business of his own, and is completely, perfectly in a place where he can do that. His wife is telling him to do that. She's got a successful business of her own, and she keeps on telling him, just, cut the cord and do it. And he's holding himself back. And we have these conversations, and it's been this so cyclical thing about, well, why aren't you doing it if that's what you really want to do? Well, the paycheck and da-da-da. Okay, but you don't need the paycheck. I mean, yeah, it's nice. Believe me, been there, done that. But you can survive without it. To take the time to, get to what you want to do. What's going to make your heart sing? What's going to make your whole soul sing? It's going to make you completely happy with yourself and with your life. And he'll be like, oh, well, yeah, I know I can do that. And then I haven't talked to him for a couple months, and then we have another conversation, and he's in the same exact place, and his wife is telling him to quit and just start his own business already. And he's hedging. Well, part of it is in his head. It's, first of all, I had asked him, when your wife started her business, what did you say? Oh, I was behind her 100%. Okay, well, now it's a successful business, and it can sustain you guys while you get yours started. So what's the problem? Is it because, you're the man? You're the man, and that you have this expectation that, you have to be solid enough and be a breadwinner, and that you can't take it from your wife? There's a lot of this that goes on, and I'm not saying it to point out any sexism or anything else. It's just these are expectations that still go on in societies and families and cultures. And he's like, I really have to pray on that. I guess I have to think about that. So, then, we don't talk again. And then, like, we just talked this week, and he's in the same exact place. And I said, so then what is holding you back? And he said, I don't know. I said, why are you letting your mind overrule what your heart is telling you? And then he says, I have to pray on that. And I'm like, well, how about you do something on that, you know? And he's always like, yeah, you give such great advice, and, you know, this is, you know, you such great things to think about, and da-da. But it's like, well, but it's time to move. And if 10 years goes by and you're in the same place, you're going to regret that you didn't do this. And then what? And then you'll never know. If you fail, so what? Then you do something else. This is just one of so many different things. I'm not, I mean, there's like as much as, oh, I don't do this, or I don't do this hobby of mine that I love because my spouse doesn't like it. I don't do this hobby of mine, or I don't do this, or I don't go this place. I don't go, I like would love to go here, but my spouse or my significant other has no desire to go there, so therefore I'm not going to go. Well, why? What book says that you have to do only what this person that you're sharing your life with wants, you know? And here's the thing, if it's truly love, it is all about making you all you are meant to be, helping you be all you are meant to be, not holding you back from who you're meant to be. There's so much of this going on. And so I wanted to talk about this because there's, I got clearly that there's a lot of misunderstanding as to what it means in saying don't let your relationships define you, because these are perfect examples of your relationships defining you. Now, in the first example I gave, his wife was not telling him not to do it. His wife is telling him to do it. But because of how he was brought up, what his family taught him, what his culture taught him, in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I have to do this because of this. I have to do this because I'm the man. I can't do this because I'm the man. Although it doesn't matter whether he didn't work another day or not, they would still be fine. But it's this cultural thing. So, you know, these are a couple of like harsh examples, but a lot of times people don't put that together. Like those who I speak with, a lot of times they're not putting that together. They're thinking like some really, really huge things that are really blatant is what I mean. But a lot of times what's holding us back are things like that, or these expectations that sometimes aren't even spoken, but they're so ingrained in our system that we don't realize what we're doing. So the point here is it's time to look within us. It's time to actually ask our hearts and to tell the ego, I understand this is what other people have told us, but you know what? We're taking back our power. And we're going to say, if it's going to make our hearts sing and it's going to make us happy and it's for our highest and best without hurting anyone else, then guess what? It's what we should be doing. And we'll find a way to do it. It sounds so simple. Believe me, it does. And I have gotten, you know, like 90% past a lot of those, you know, from where I thought I should be, and for what the kind of person I thought I should be, and for what I thought I should be doing. And then to get past it. But, you know, every once in a while I have something that rises up too, and it takes me a while to turn around and say, well, what is this? So really the exercise here is not necessarily, okay, well, you know, you're a scrub if you don't have this, you know, cleared out, you know, right away. No, because there's a lot of stuff we're uncovering and we're clearing out. The key and the biggest step is being able to recognize it and to be able to say, it is only an opinion. It is only what somebody else expects. It is not my business. It doesn't have anything to do with, if it's holding me back from having my heart sing, then I have to look at why I'm letting it hold me back, because it is me who's letting that happen. So over the weekend, your homework is to think about that. And this is serious homework, because we're coming to these points of we're going to have a lot of serious changes going on around us. And they're fun and exciting and just awesome what we are crafting ourselves to become. But in the meantime, we are, again, letting go of all this stuff that doesn't serve us, whether we try to hold on to it or not. I think I used a story a while back of a woman I met who tried to ignore this path, the spiritual path, and she was a math teacher or whatever, and she ignored it so much that she even would say that she manifested a car accident, so she was laid up and had to look at herself in the mirror. So what happens is, eventually what happens is you push yourself to this point, your heart is going to say, yo, we want to do this, and this is what's going to make us happy, and it's going to push through, especially right now, because we are trying to become more true to ourselves and true to who we are in our higher self. So on that, think about that over the weekend and what's holding you back and why you're holding yourself back or allowing yourself to be held back. And look at the cause of that, and then you can start pulling that puzzle apart and saying, you know, I don't need that anymore. That's somebody else's opinion, that's somebody else's expectation, and I can release that if it's holding me back from my highest and best. So have a great weekend. This is Angela with a Cup of Tea.